This is Endrick, and he could be the best wonder kid on Football Manager 2023. He's 15 years old, Brazilian, and currently plays for Palmeiras. And in all my years of playing Football Manager, I genuinely don't think I've seen a better footballer at just 15 years of age. If you have the chance to sign him for a decent price, I would 100% recommend doing so. One thing that's going to help his development is his fairly professional personality combined with a decent determination attribute of 13. His versatility for his age is incredible as well. He's natural as a striker, but is already pretty competent at playing in any of the 3 attacking midfield positions and could even fill in across the midfield if needed. He's young enough that you can retrain him in pretty much any role. One thing that I'd be looking at would be an inside forward on the right. You can make use of his goal scoring threat off the wing, his left foot, as well as train the player trait cut inside from left to make him even more effective. At the moment though, he's very well suited to being an advanced forward with a really good set of attributes for that role. He's also got 18 flair and the player trait of attempts over head kicks, so don't be surprised if you see a few of them fly in. Endrick is first in a list of 10 wonder kids under the age of 18 that I'm going to be showing you in this video. And if you're a fan of any of these wonder kids, I think a fair deal would be to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Next up is an FM23 favourite, Roony Bardghji. He's 16 years old, Swedish, and currently plays for FC Copenhagen. Bardghji burst onto the scene in FM22 and was one of the most signed wonder kids on the game. I don't think that's going to change for FM23. He's available for quite a cheap price, so if I were you, I'd be snapping him up as soon as I can. He can play right midfield, he's competent at playing in other attacking areas as well, but he's most natural and most effective on the right wing, especially as he has the player trait of cuts inside from right wing. At just 16, he has an incredible set of attributes across his technicals, mentals, physicals. They're all really well balanced, including a very nice determination of 16. I'm sure he'd be effective as an inverted winger, but I think he'd be just as effective, if not more effective, as an inside forward. This way you can really utilise his attacking attributes such as his finishing and make him even more of a goal scoring threat. Gavi could be the most well-rounded player on this list. He's 17 years old, Spanish, and currently plays for Barcelona. He is someone that should be in this Barcelona midfield for years to come, the type of player you'd like to build a team around. And he's so well-rounded for just 17 years of age. I'd trust him to play the majority of roles in central midfield, and he's also very accomplished in playing as a defensive or an attacking central midfielder if needed. Some of his standout attributes include his technique, decisions, determination, and vision. His player traits also really complement his playstyle, moves into channels, tries killer balls often, comes deep to get the ball, plays 1-2s, and knocks the ball past his opponent. You can tell he's a product of La Masia, the Barca Academy, and I'd like to think he'll be as good as the likes of previous Barcelona midfielders, Cesc Fabregas, Andreas Iniesta, or current manager, Xavi. We're looking at a couple of Brazilians next, the first one being Angelo. He's 16 years old, Brazilian, and currently plays for Santos. Angelo, looking at him, he is accomplished in playing as a striker. He's more natural though on the right wing. I'm sure you could retrain him to be a left winger as well, but I wouldn't drop him any deeper than that. And I think his best fit at the moment would be as an inverted winger on the right wing. You can make use of his stronger attributes such as his dribbling, technique, flair, and you can make use of a really solid set of physicals. He's only got the one player trait at the moment, run with ball often, so there's plenty you can train that will continue to improve him. He is left-footed, so perhaps you can make use of that by having him cut inside from the left, or encourage him to be a threat in attack and train him to get forward whenever possible. He does have a lot of positives, however his personality is just balanced and his determination is only 11, so he does feel like he'd be more of a gamble than some of the other players on this list. Still, he's fantastic for just 16 years old, and perhaps with the right training, with the right development, he could have a similar career path to another former Santos forward. Next up is Vitor Roque. He's 16 years old, Brazilian, and currently plays for Club Atlético Paranaense. Now, I googled how to say that, so if I'm wrong, then Google's wrong. He's also one of my favourite players on this list. He's natural as a striker, also very accomplished at playing both on the left and the right wing. An initial look at his attributes, there's a lot of 13s there, which isn't bad at all. I already think he could potentially be your #1 striker. If not, he's definitely good enough to be your second choice. And if the majority of these attributes can all improve at a pretty steady rate, you will have an incredible player on your hands. Personally, I'd like to use him as a striker rather than on the wings, and I think he fits 2 roles really well. The first is an advanced forward, which I think would be the role he excels in throughout his career, it also utilises quite a lot of those 13 rated attributes. This role will allow him to focus on leading the line and scoring goals, with pressing defenders being the secondary focus. The second role is a pressing forward, so putting pressure on the opposition would be his primary focus. This will use less of his technicals and more of his mentals. However, he does have really good mentals already to be able to do this, with one of the worst being his 10 bravery. That's not bad. Both roles look like really good options, and it is completely up to you how you'd like to play him. He also has no player traits, so essentially it's a clean slate there for you to train those that you think would be most effective for him and his role. A couple of bonus players now, both from the same club. The first is Lovro Zvonarek. I hope I've said that one correctly. He's 17 years old, Croatian, and currently plays for Bayern Munich. One thing I immediately like is how versatile he is. He's natural as a centre mid and a central attacking mid. However, he can play across your entire midfield with plenty of time to train him, so he becomes natural in all of these positions. He's a very well-rounded midfielder, with the majority of his attributes ranging between 11 and 13. And as he develops, I'm sure he'll be comfortable playing a variety of roles in that midfield. However, advanced playmaker in both centre mid and centre attacking mid currently look like the best option. Second, we have Mathis Tel. He's 17 years old, French, and also currently plays for Bayern Munich. He's a very, very good attacking option, and despite his age, could definitely be in your starting lineup. One thing that I do find interesting is that he can play centre-back, so if you're ever in desperate need of someone there, this guy can help you out. He is, however, natural on both the left wing and as a striker. His attributes as a striker aren't too bad, and I think an advanced forward or a trequartista are his two strongest roles there. However, I think you'll get much more production from him on the left wing, either as an inverted winger or as an inside forward. Either of these roles will allow you to use his flair more effectively and his player trait of cuts inside from left wing. With a fairly determined personality and 16 determination, Tel could very well turn into one of the best wide players on this game. I love what I see when I look at Arda Guler. I have no idea why his media description isn't Wonderkid, because this guy is one of the best players I've seen at his age. He's 17 years old, Turkish, and currently plays for Fenerbahce. Because he's so good already technically and mentally, I'm not even paying too much attention to his physicals, but we probably should have a look. They're not great, are they? His agility is the best at 11. His physicals would be the area of his game that he does need to improve the most. His technicals and mentals, though, are absolutely brilliant for someone who is just 17 years old. His standouts being his first touch, passing, technique, determination, and flair, all really, really impressive. I mean, there's so much to admire about Arda Guler, and he's the type of player who you can run your attacks through. He definitely has the potential to become one of the best attacking midfielders on the game. I'd probably play him in a role that doesn't require him to use too many physicals because, as we said, they're not brilliant. For example, I think he'd really suit an attacking midfielder or an Enganchi? We're continuing the trend of young midfielders with Paul Wanner. He's 16 years old, German, and currently plays for Bayern Munich. A lot of these players seem to play for Bayern Munich. Have they got like the best academy in the game or something? And it's amazing how versatile he is at such a young age. I know he's not natural or accomplished in a lot of these positions, but he is 2 positions away from being able to play in every position on the pitch. Genuinely, I'm surprised his goalkeeper rating is only 2. There's not many weaknesses looking at Wanner, not many that matter anyway, especially if you're planning on using him further up the pitch to influence your attacks. I think based on his current attributes, his best role would be an advanced playmaker. That way you can utilise things like his dribbling, his first touch, his passing, his vision, and you can hide his defensive weaknesses such as his marking, tackling and positioning. Or potentially as an inside forward on the right hand side. This would work well because he's naturally left footed, so can cut in from that side of the pitch, which is also a trait that you can get him to train. Genuinely, I think he's already good enough to be featuring in your first team and can probably stay there for the next 15 years. Now to a more defensive-minded midfielder, Giacomo Faticanti. He's 17 years old, Italian, and currently plays for Roma. Immediately, I've noticed one of his standout attributes is his determination at a massive 18. And if you look slightly right, you'll see his personality is perfectionist. This is a great start for a young player that you're looking to develop. He's natural as both a defensive and central midfielder, with his best role being a ball-winning midfielder. However, I do think in time he'll be able to perform roles such as halfback and anchor very effectively. Browsing his attributes, it's fair to say his technicals don't look brilliant, probably because he's a more defensive-minded player. One that is pretty good though is his tackling, however his marking is going to need to improve. His mentals and physicals are both good, although he is quite aggressive, so hopefully he doesn't get himself in too much trouble. Every midfield needs someone who's a little bit more defensively responsible, and Faticanti can certainly be that player. We'll stay in the same country with Simone Pafundi. He's 16 years old, Italian, and currently plays for Udinese. Like Faticanti, he also has 18 determination, and again, if you look slightly right, his personality is driven, so this is another great start for a young player that you're looking to develop. He's also got some good attributes in the areas that suit his position. He's natural as a central attacking midfielder, therefore his technical attributes such as his first touch, passing, technique, all being 12 is pretty good, as well as having a good balance across his mentals and his physicals. I can see him being an effective advanced playmaker or an attacking midfielder, so I'd start training those roles immediately, whichever one you prefer him to be, as well as getting him some player traits to make him more effective in the final third. Our last player is Youssoufa Moukoko. He's 17 years old, German, and currently plays for Borussia Dortmund. He's already incredible for just 17 years old, and he's going to improve and improve and improve. And if FM22 is anything to go by, he's going to be one of the best strikers on FM23. I know his attributes are going to develop and he'll be able to play multiple roles effectively, but to me, he excels as an advanced forward. 16 dribbling and finishing, 14 first touch, and 16 technique is a really good start. His mentals are good, but I'd say that's the category that's going to need the most improvement, especially things like anticipation, decisions, and off the ball if he's to reach the very top of his game. His physicals are where he's the strongest though, with 16 acceleration and agility and 15 natural fitness and pace. I think he's perfectly capable of leading the line and playing as a solo striker. Alternatively, if you wanted to pair him with someone, I think he'll work just as well in a 2, possibly even a 3. Providing he gets the service, he will score you goals. His contract is up at the end of the season, but I'd fully expect Dortmund to offer him a new one. They would be mad not to. However, if you do get the chance to sign him, he will literally change the complexion of your entire team and your save. And that brings us to the end of the video. Drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments if I've missed out any Wonder Kids that we could potentially put in a second video.